Back with chapter 7. It says the contrast of wisdom and folly. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of birth. Read that again, verse 1. It says, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death and the day of birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. Read verse 2 one more time. It says, it is better to go to the house of mourning than go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter. For by sadness of face the heart is made glad. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fools, this also is vanity. Surely oppression drives the wise into madness, and a bribe corrupts the heart. Better is the end of a thing than its beginning, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Exactly. Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the bosom, how should I say this again? For anger lodges in the bosom of fools, or bosom of fools. Say not, why were the former days better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and advantage to those who see the sun. For the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money, and the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the life of him who has it. Consider the work of God, who can make straight what he has made crooked. Exactly. Think about that. Verse 13. Consider the work of God, who can make straight what he has made crooked. God, God makes our paths, right? And God can make our paths straight. He can make them crooked. I mean, he's God. He can do whatever he wants to do with our lives. He can make them straight. He can make them crooked. And he can do whatever he wants to. He can do whatever he wants to do in our lives, because he's God. He made us. He created us, and of course he's going to be in control of our lives, whether if it's a straight path or if it's a crooked path. He's in control. He made us, and he's going to be in control of our lives no matter what. In the day of prosperity, be joyful, and in the day of adversity, consider God has made the one as well as the other, so that man may not find out anything that will be after him. In my vain life I have seen everything. There is a righteous man who perishes in his righteousness. There is a wicked man who prolongs his life in his evil doing. Be not overly righteous, and do not make yourself too wise. Why should you destroy yourself? Be not overly wicked, neither be a fool. Why should you die before your time? It is good that you should take hold of this, and from that withhold not your hand, for the one who fears God shall come out from both of them. Read that again one more time, verse 18. It is good that you should take hold of this, and from that withhold not your hand, for the one who fears God shall come out from both of them. Wisdom gives strength to the wise man, more than 10 rulers who are in his city. Exactly. Verse 19 one more time. It says, wisdom gives strength to the wise man, and more than 10 rulers who are in a city. Surely there is not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. Do not take to heart all the things that people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Your heart knows that many times you yourself have cursed others. What's saying in verse 21 is saying, do not take heart all the things that people say. Meaning, don't let people bother you. Someone says something bad about you, don't worry about it. Don't let it get to you. Don't worry about things. Don't let people get to you. The worst thing you can ever do is let people get to you. Don't let it happen. People say bad things about you, let it go. Only you and God know what the truth is. And if they're lying about something, whatever, don't let it get to you. I'd say confront them about it and tell them just to tell them nicely to stop. But just don't let it get to you. Just brush it off. Says, do not take to heart all the things that people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Your heart knows that many times you yourself have cursed others. All this I have tested by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which has been is far off, and deep, very deep, who can find it out? Read verse 24 one more time. It says, that which has been is far off, and deep, very deep, who can find it out? I turn my heart to know and to search out and to seek wisdom in the scheme of things, and to know the wickedness of folly and the foolishness that is madness. And I find something more bitter than death, the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and whose hand are fetters. He who pleases God escapes her, but the sinner is taken by her. It's talking about a whore, to be honest, a prostitute is what it's talking about, the whore. It says, behold, this is what I found, says the preacher, while adding one thing to another to find the scheme of things, which my soul has sought repeatedly, but I have found not. Or it says, but I have not found. One man among 1,000 I found, but a woman among all these I have not found. See, this alone I found, that God made man upright, but they have sought out many schemes. Exactly. God, and when God first created us, when God first created human beings, what I'm trying to say, when He first created Adam and Eve, they were made perfect, without sin. And then, of course, when Satan entered into earth and ended up making Adam and Eve sin against God, what happened? It corrupted the human race forever. Ever since that time, ever since Satan tempted Adam and Eve to sin against God, and when they gave into that temptation, they sinned against God, and ever since then, the human race has been corrupt, and will forever be corrupt, until Christ comes back. But yeah, I mean, it's all because of Satan and sin. That this world is so screwed up. But that's chapter 7, about the contrast of wisdom and folly. And I'll be back with chapter 8 here shortly.